Well, this is John Black, super chemist. I lied again, as usual. I got one more video for this playlist series called Matriarchy versus Patriarchy. And I also threw it into the Pastafarian Rules playlist because Pastafarian needs to know, the difference between a matriarchy and a patriarchy. So anyways, I wanted to just go over a couple of things real quick. About the matriarchy, becoming a polygamy, where you have the top 20%, because they're basically women are female supremacists now, so they're only going to look at the top 20%. They can only, even them, they can't stand. So what happens is now you got out of 100 men and 100 women, you got 20 men at the top getting all 100 women, right? And what they really want, though, okay, because that's what they're going to get, okay, because those top 20% of men are never going to stop, basically running through all these women. Basically, 100% of the women are getting screwed over by these 20% at the top, reinforcing their feminist view that men are horrible, terrible people that just want sex, when they disregard 80% of men and only go by the 20 top percent, who have so many options that they have to carry a stick around to beat off the women, you know what I mean? And then they get cheated on, and they think that's all men. So they're getting tricked. That's what they're getting. What they want, though, is they want they want polygamy where the woman has several men, so that no man knows who's the father of the child, you know what I mean? And more today, you'll find out that a lot of guys are taking care of kids that ain't theirs. They're just getting tricked. But you'll see that Gen Z, all the girls, they want to have a guy for sex, a guy for talking with and be friends, a guy for food, and a guy for paying my bills. You know what I mean? That's what they want, and that's what they try. But see, it's going to backfire, because now these 80% of the men that are getting used, they understand what's going on, and they're saying, I'd rather have no woman than just be used, you know what I mean, and be miserable, just to have sex when most of these. So anyways, that's what they're not going to get what they wanted. It's going to backfire. But they do want a polygamy where they have one woman and a bunch of men. They're not going to get it. They're going to get the opposite. And one of the reasons why is because the matriarchy is actually controlled by men. Just like feminism is controlled by men. Men, like, feminism has been around for thousands of years. There's written books about it. All this, it's never taken off until a man got, in the back in the day, 100 years ago or whatever, a man got involved, right? And then feminism took off, okay? Which is funny. It's hilarious. But these are the 20% of the men at the top, so they're getting all the women. So they don't care that they're destroying everything. Which leads me to the fact that, that's why I say patriarchy is about monogamy, not polygamy. And you can say all of our times we had it was all polygamy, but you can't have an industrial society. Patriarchy understands you cannot have polygamy in an industrial society, because before that, the 20% wasn't reliant on the 80% below. They didn't make electricity or plumbing, or the rich 20%. They had farms and food and women. They had everything. They didn't rely on the 20. Now, with the industrial age, you can't have electricity. You can't have plumbing and cars that run and sewage and all this stuff without the 80%. The 20% are reliant on that 80%, okay? And that's why they realize you can't have a polygamy at that point, because how can you think about it? You got 20% of the people having all the wives, and you got 80% of the men having nothing. But they're forced to go hunting, whatever, just so they can survive. And how are you going to make them work 40 hours a week plus driving time, 50 hours a week? How are you going to get them to punch in a clock like that? If they get no women, they'll just be like, screw it. I could just stay here and just live in the woods and, hunt for my food and grow my crops. Screw you. I'm not going to do all that if I don't get a woman on, I got to get something from it. So that was the incentive. Without that, you can't have a patriarchy with a society that has an industrial age. You can't have it. It's not possible. So saying that, oh, we've been polygamist, well, that was before the industrial age, and we ain't going to be back. So you can't have a patriarchy unless there's monogamy. Okay. And these 80% now, because the matriarchy is telling women to exclude 80% of men, right? So these 80%, that's why they're punching women in New York, just walking down and boom, punching something, because they know they can't get a woman now. I mean, there's 30-year-old virgins, like that's a common thing now for men. 30 years. Well, the women have hundreds of. How does all the men are virgins now, and all the women have like 120, 30 people they screwed, because they're screwing the same guys, the same 20%. And another reason why, matriarchy does not work. Okay, it's because like these female soldiers after military, I'm sure like they have the nurses or the clerks or whatever, not them, but the people that actually think, these women actually think that they're the same as a man. They're not. Their bone density is, a man's bone density is like twice as much. The muscle mass is twice as dense. Everything is twice as sturdy on a man. You know what I mean? And these women think that they're equal. They're going in and trying to be in infantry, even though they can't even go to a war zone. They're not allowed in war zones. They go into infantry, get paid the same as a man, even though they can't go into war zones. And they come out of the military, and they're not even doing the same stuff as men because they get coddled. They don't have to do the same requirements or physical training. They don't have to do any, and they're trying to make it so they don't even have to do anything. They're already passing laws for cops and firemen where the women don't even have to take any physical training, any physical test at all. Okay, and they're trying to do that into the military. These women are coming out, and men come out of their all screwed up. Men, but all women come out. They are all screwed up because they can't handle what they're doing, man. They're trying to do what a man does, and they ain't even doing what the man does, and they're still getting destroyed. Okay, which just weakens the military. You're just going to have, they want 50% soldiers to be females. That just weakens your army. Same way with the police and the whatever. What's going to happen though is, like say for the police, right? You don't have to, now they're changing the law in a couple of states and counties or whatever, where women don't have to take any physical test. They can just, any woman can just be a cop. But any man has to pass a bunch of tests, bunch of physical requirements. He has to actually be qualified. But a woman does not have to be qualified in any way, shape, or form, okay? What's going to happen is they want 50-50, 50% men, 50% women. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to pair the man and the woman up together so that the woman always has a bodyguard there, someone to back her up. But the dude has no one to back him up now. He used to have a male partner that was qualified, that had the strength and passed the test. But these women now, how are they going to, if they don't have to pass any test, how are they going to help? And secondly, they're women. So even if they can pass the tests they give women are like bullshit. They're stupid. Might as well not even test them at all anyways. But what you'll have is you'll have the man, and he'll have to protect that woman. And you'll see a lot of deaths come when that starts happening. Because what will happen is the man has no backup. The criminal knows it, right? The criminal also knows that the man cop is going to have to protect the woman cop beyond anything else. So he knows that he can, jump over to the woman, punch her in the face, 2 or 3 times. If it was a man cop, 2 men cops, the other man cop that didn't get hit would go after the criminal, try to beat him up and put him in cuffs. But if there's a woman getting punched like that, what's going to happen? The man cop is not going to run after that criminal. He's going to run over to the female officer because he's going to want to protect her so that he does not punch, the criminal doesn't punch her anymore, and that makes sure that she's okay, and to tend to her needs and safety. That's what's going to happen. And then when his back is turned doing that, criminal might jump on him, start getting him from behind. It's not going to come out good. It's not going to come out well, especially once criminals realize that the male officer has no backup. Usually you're not allowed, cops always come in pairs, most times. There's a reason for that. So they have backup. And once the criminal knows, they don't have no backup, they just have some chick, and the chick ain't even qualified in any way, shape, or form, and she's a woman, yeah, that's not going to come over. That's not going to happen. It's not going to be good outcome. So, what else do I got here? I got 4 minutes left. I guess that's the only thing I got to say about this. I'll probably come back to it sooner or later. But I will have a playlist called Feminism. And if you thought the matriarchy was interesting, the playlist I called Matriarchy versus Patriarchy, you'll probably like the feminist playlist, because I'll go more in depth about why. Because feminism was actually, it's been around for thousands of years, but it started in the Americas by self-proclaimed witches. These are women who were promiscuous and hated Christianity, and they worshipped female goddesses. That's where the goddess thing comes from. And, it's crazy. Like, these are like your role models, right? But I'll get into more how more crazy it all sounds or whatever. So anyways, I guess I'm done with this video. You all have a great day.